Hey everybody, we have a great podcast today. We have a great show, and I'll be talking to my cousin Kathy. Kathy, she's a social worker, and she works for the state of Connecticut, and she deals with families, and she deals with kids, and there's a lot of need out there. So this is a great podcast. Remember, if you like, leave a comment either on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel. And as always, my mom is going to be with me, so I just hope you enjoy this podcast. All right, take care.
Get ready for the Typical Thoughts podcast with Joe Sanchez.
Hey, what's going on, gang? Welcome to the Typical Thoughts podcast. I am your host, Joe Sanchez, and we're going to talk about stuff that we all think about, but we do not like to share with others. Now, we're going to keep it clean so that everybody can enjoy it, so stay tuned and enjoy the show. Kathy, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I am good. Thank you for taking time to talk to us about this topic. And we just want to talk about single moms. And we want to talk about working single moms. There's a lot of working single moms out there. As a matter of fact, I have a quick stats here. It says, and this is according to singlemothersguide.com. And it says, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, out of about 12 million single parents in 2015, more than 80% were headed by single mothers.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
crazy stat.
Yeah, it is.
Right? And then it says today 1 in 4 children under the age of 18, that's about 17.4 million people, are being raised without a father, and nearly half live below the poverty line.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a big deal. I know a lot of people, a lot of single moms, and I know children or friends of mine that were raised by single moms. Mom, you
Yeah.
were a single mom for a while.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so Kathy, you are a single mom, right?
That's a tough question. I find that's a tough question because I do consider myself a single, single parent. I've been thinking about this ever since you guys sent me the questions.
Okay.
Because he does do a good part in making sure he's consistent. He does pick up my daughter every other weekend. But as far as on a day-to-day basis, you would have to give me the trophy for that because I am the one that's, Monday through Sunday with her.
Right.
And I think, that kind of, I don't know if that defines me as a single parent or a single mom. He does do his part as, he's consistent.
Yeah,
a good
he's in the
dad.
picture
But-
and he helps you out a lot with your child. However, you're not together under the same roof. Is that right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, we don't live together. So that's kind of, it's been, a battle in terms of how to co-parent, how do we do that, how do we get along in front of our kids.
So let me ask you.
And then-
So there is a difference between being a single mom or a single mother and then a single parent. So,
Yes,
Yeah.
I
I would
so.
think so.
so
Yeah, I would
it
think
sounds
so.
like a single parent would be someone that is completely alone, completely by themselves. No, just the mom or the dad. But then a single mom, is that what it is? Can you clarify that for me? And then even before you get into that, Kathy, you are a social worker, right?
Yes, I am. I'm a social worker, and I work with families. I work with kids and their parents, and all different types of settings that includes the school, home, and what happens in their environment. As far as your question about single parent and single mom, that is something that I even myself I've been like, I need to find out exactly what the term is in regards to what I am because
Okay.
like I said, on a day-to-day basis, I am the one that's having conversations with her. I am the one
Right.
that's picking her up off the bus. I am the one that knows what her behaviors are like. Anybody can pick up their kid weekends.
Right.
That's easy.
Sure.
And
sure.
I'm not taking that away from him. He's a good dad, but I am the one
Sure.
that's preparing her for the world.
Now,
Right.
yeah, let me-
That's a
let me
good way to
ask you,
put it.
do you work with a specific age gap or a specific age bracket within the kids, or is it any type of age? What specifically type of kids do you work with?
Yeah, our numbers are and ages 5 to 17.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
18 they're already adults, so they can make their own decisions. If
So
they
you work
want
with
to.
the teenagers
So-
also.
Ouch. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
That must be
yes.
pretty tough, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it is tough. It is tough.
and then you said you work at a school setting.
It's an in-home service program. So what we do, if I can just give you guys a little brief
Sure,
description of what
sure.
we do,
Sure.
is our program is contracted through DCF. So DCF will get a case,
Okay.
and they'll look at the case and they'll determine, is this something that is, the child going through, like, is he being abused or is he being neglected? If that's the case, then DCF will
Wow.
stay with the case.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
If
Okay.
that's not the case, what DCF will do is they'll say, okay, well, these parents need parenting skills, or these parents need to advocate for their kid at school because they need special education services. There's all these different
Okay.
types of
Okay.
things.
Wow.
Now, Kathy, let me ask you just quickly, what is DCF exactly?
The Department of Children and Families.
Okay,
Okay.
So-
so that's the local Department of Children and Families. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Mom, you have a question?
Yeah. What is the most common problem that you see, Kathy, in your job?
The most common problem that I see,
Yes.
I've been in the field for 4 years now, and
Wow.
what I see is a pattern of parents don't really know how to use their voice, or are too afraid to reach out for help, or are let down by other services, and at times, a lot of the parents don't need their own help, so don't even know what the first step is, so they're kind of lost.
Wow.
So
And
you
they need their
okay?
own.
So that would
Mhm.
be if let's say you're and I'm just gonna say this and you correct me if I'm wrong. So if you have a 10-year-old and he's starting to give problems, behavioral problems, the parent the most common thing that you see is the parent not knowing how to reach out for help or resources, or they don't know maybe the knowledge of the resources, that type of thing. Is that
Right.
what you're saying?
Yes, so a lot of it, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. A lot of it is that they don't know what to do, what their next step is, and a lot of it, half of it is that, and the other half is that at times they even need their own therapist, or they need someone to
So
talk
the
to.
adults
And
need themselves, they need help, counseling
yes,
or
they need help.
something like that. Okay,
Right.
all right, all
Okay.
right.
Well, in that regards, I remember in my days, I remember a lot of parents, I brought you into this world and I will take you out myself, and that wasn't looked as a bad thing. Is that saying that nowadays, would that be considered some type of neglect or
Abuse or something?
abuse?
Um, that's a good question. I think every parent is so different. You have the parents where they say, "I brought you into this world," and they say that, but they're not actually doing anything. They're not actually really advocating for their kids. So the kid is kind of like just getting their basic needs. They're healthy, they're physically
But what about the
okay, but
state?
they're
Do
not.
they see that as abuse, like that verbal abuse?
Um, it would have to be.
Is it like on a
It's tough
case-to-case basis?
Yeah, that could be considered abuse, definitely. But it's hard for a worker to even see that, because when you go into the homes, the parents are going to be the best parents
They
that they can
behave,
be.
yeah, they behave well, of course.
So they're not going to show you.
I'm
they're not
sure
gonna
that's a
show you
common
that
thing, of
side.
course, yeah. But you know what? Also, you think about this. All right, Mom, you said that now. So yeah, I took you. Okay, but before, I would say, but when I was growing up and before that, it seems like it was more of a naive type of behavior for kids. Kids
Mhm.
nowadays, they do crazy stuff. You have kids
Yeah.
with cell phones. They connect to the internet and they do
Oh,
all
yeah.
these crazy
Mhm.
things. So the problems that I think, and you can talk about this, Kathy, the problems that we're seeing now with the kids are different than even 15
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, a kid nowadays,
Mhm.
in my opinion, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, a kid nowadays, I think, has way more knowledge than when my generation was growing up, or even you guys.
Yeah. So
Even
Mhm.
you guys.
Mhm.
You're in your 20s, right, Kathy?
Yeah. I'm
Y-
28. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I think the generation that's coming up, bringing up now, I think it's a little more knowledgeable and a little more aggressive,
well,
if that's
and,
the
and
word you
that can
can
definitely be a
use.
problem. A lot of knowledge, a lot of resources. If you don't know how, and she said it, a lot of the parents need counseling themselves. A lot of
Yes,
parents they need
yes,
help themselves.
yes.
If you don't know what to
Mhm.
do, how are you going to help your child, right?
Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, I agree. We see a lot of cases where it's like even something I'm gonna go off of what you guys are saying, even something as like having some sort of like social chat like Tinder or any dating app or whatever. Like the
Mm-hmm.
parents, a lot of the parents don't even know how to work phones nowadays. So the kid is on the phone and they're on this application, but they hide it somewhere on their phone. So they're
Oh,
going on these apps and they're chatting with men that are 30, 40 years
oh
old.
my
The
God.
parent doesn't even know it's
Wow.
happening because
Yeah,
the parent doesn't even know how to navigate the phone themselves, you
yeah,
know?
that's
So
true.
kids are a lot smarter nowadays and they are way more advanced, and they
Now,
Yeah.
take advantage of that.
let me ask you,
I agree.
Kathy, the so you being a single parent or a single mom, we haven't decided yet. You haven't made up your mind, right, about the
Mhm.
terminology. But you
Mhm.
being a single parent, do you see a lot of the behaviors with your daughter, and do you learn from it and use that in at your job or vice versa? How does it work? How do you work with that? How do you deal with those both of those things?
As far as almost like balancing my work life and
Your mom
my personal
life.
life.
But
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, but also that making a balance. But also, do you see things in your daughter? Things that she may come back from school and she may or daycare or whatever, and then you say, "Oh man, I
Mhm.
went through this with some of the kids that I saw today or some of the kids that I saw last week." Does it make you learn? Does it make you think? Do you think, "Man, am I doing a good job?" Or anything like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. I think that as a social worker and being in the field, you have to almost, you have to practice what you preach. I can't go out to the families and say, hey, try this, and maybe you should take the tablet away for an hour or
Yeah.
two, or do
Yeah.
this, or, follow up with the school and call the teacher. I can't go out in the field to do that and then not do that in my own home. So there was a time where, and there are times still to this day where I have to stop myself and be like, all right, I just told this parent to call the teacher and I'm not even following through with my own
Sure,
family.
sure, sure,
What's
Yeah.
sure,
going
sure.
on with
That
me?
makes sense.
And,
Yeah.
and that's a realistic, that's realistic. So what I try to do is I've learned how to cope with my own life and I learned how to deal with my kids. That doesn't mean that we don't, we don't face real life issues. So there has
Right.
been
And,
a
and
time
it
or
doesn't
two.
mean you're not human. You're gonna make mistakes
Right.
along the way as
Sure,
well. You know?
Exactly,
sure.
and I'm learning too
Right.
along the way. So there are times where there's been two occasions where she told me that someone was bothering her at school or whatnot. So what I did was what I would tell a client, a mom to do: go to the school, talk to the social worker, introduce yourself, ask her what's going on, ask her
Sure.
to check on your child. So
Right. Right.
and I have to stop my life for my kids to be okay because she comes first to me.
Of course.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there
Understandable.
are there are things that sometimes I have to almost tell myself because I'm out saving the world, but then I'm like, all right, what's going on in my home?
Sure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have
That
to
yeah,
make
and that
makes a
sure
makes a,
lot of
that
everything's
makes a lot of
okay
sense.
here
sense.
first.
Makes a lot of
Kathy,
sense.
do you
Mhm.
deal with a lot of single parents?
Oh yeah, yeah, we do deal with a lot of single parents. Yep, we do.
What's of course, the biggest complaint would be them doing the work themselves. So what seems to be the biggest problems or the biggest issues with the single parents?
Well, I work in Hartford right now, and Hartford seems to have like a huge Hispanic
Community?
population.
Okay.
Yeah, community, all of that. And a lot of them are coming straight from Puerto Rico, so they don't
Wow.
even know who to look for guidance or anything, or they're too,
Oh
they
my
really don't
God.
know. They really don't
Wow.
know. So a lot of it is like just trying to get them started, even as far as like signing up the kid for school, going to the Board of Education, things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
they don't have no sort of guidance.
So
The good thing is that DCF kind of pushes us into their
yeah.
home, so they have kind of no choice
So there seems
at
to be a
times.
lot, a lot of lack of knowledge.
Not,
The
yeah, lack
problem
of
being a lot of
knowledge.
lack of knowledge of the
Yeah.
resources. There seems to be that's so you said it,
Of
that's
the
the
help that the
first.
government gives, people are not aware that they're
So there's
entitled to a
help, there's
certain
work, there's
extent.
people like Kathy, there's people that people that help you find this, do that. It's just that a lot of people out there they don't know that these
Right.
type of things are out there.
Yeah.
Right,
How
right,
sad.
exactly.
Now, Kathy, are
That
you
happens.
a Christian?
Yes, I am. I am a
You
Christian.
are? Okay. And
hmm
and do you think there's a difference between being a Christian and not being a Christian and in the issues with these
You mean
families?
like you mean like working with a Christian family versus working with a non-Christian family?
Right.
The
Is there a
reactions there.
difference? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, there is a difference. I used to work with a therapist because we work as in teams. So I used
Okay.
to work with a therapist who is a faithful Christian who, goes to church Wednesdays, Sundays, and faithfully.
Right.
And now I work with a different therapist, and she doesn't bring up God so much. But I find that even in the work that I do, I always try, when I'm giving someone a speech, whether or not they believe or they don't, I always try to tell them, believe
Have
and
faith
there
in
is a
those
God,
things.
yeah, and those pieces. And sometimes, and for the most part, they're not going to be like, oh, I don't want you to bring up God. They will take that in, and they
Mm-hmm.
will. You see
Awesome.
them kind of like, like nodding their head, and
Mm.
and for that little moment, there is some sort of,
Faith,
faith,
there's some
and they
sort
are
of course,
believing,
yes,
and
yes.
yeah, and that hope comes back to them. So I always try to imply that in all of my sessions before
Awesome.
I leave someone's house. I always try to say, believe, keep pushing, pray, don't give up. And I always give them that message because I know that those words stick with them, even if they are not believers.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
amazing. Yeah, the
Yeah.
the fact is that the word Christianity is just a word, but it's a relation. When you have a relationship with God and you have a great
Definitely.
support system, it makes all the difference in the world. It makes all the difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about support system, Kathy, do you yourself, with your daughter, you already said that the dad is around and he helps here and there. Do you have another like support system, parents, brothers, siblings, anything that help you out with raising your daughter?
Oh, yes, my parents,
Oh
my
yeah,
wonderful
I knew
parents.
she was gonna say that. Of course,
Yeah.
I know them. They're my uncles.
Yes, oh my God, they are
Yeah.
amazing. I can't even explain how they're my number one supporters. Even
Yeah.
before I had children, just individually for myself, they are my go-to. So now that I am a mom and they are able to see how much I really do work hard for the little things that I do have, the simple things that I have that I try to always maintain.
Yeah,
So I do reach out to them for everything and anything when I need it. There are times where they get mad at me because they think I don't reach out to them as much,
of course.
but I do, and
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough to have
That's
them,
our
and I
job
know a
as a
lot of people
parent.
don't have them.
Yeah.
Yes,
Kathy,
thank you
let
for
me ask
them.
you something. You having your mom and your dad being such a great support system for you, and you being the single parent, well, kind, sort of same because we do know that your child's father is in the picture and he helps
Mhm.
out some.
Mm-hmm.
What difference do you see in how your parents, you living with both your parents and having them as such great support system, and you versus your child? Do you see a difference there? I mean, do you think it was easier your parents doing it together as you on your own with your child? Is there a
Um,
difference?
that's a great question. I think that anytime there is a team, there is a difference. So
Yeah.
my mom and my father, they work as a team. My mom is the one that sits down with me and talks to me. So my dad is not talking as much as my mom, but he's in the background listening.
Right,
And
right.
then he'll
And he's
chime in,
looking
he'll
out.
say
He might not
something.
be talking, but he was looking out.
Right,
Probably
he's
more
looking
hands
out, and
on.
then
Yeah.
yeah, and he'll say something and he'll chime in every now and then. And he'll say, yeah, you know what, you should do this, or yeah, I agree with that. So I
Right.
think anytime there's a team, it makes it stronger and there's more support. So for me, I do feel like my daughter lacks that. She doesn't have that. She has a father figure when she gets him every other weekend, but on a day-to-day basis, I'm the one that has to talk to her about boys. I'm the one that has to talk to her about all these different areas in her life, even at 6 years old. So there is a huge difference. There is.
Right.
Um, and
Now,
I can't change that, but
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
mean, we all know that being a single parent, it's just tough. I
Yeah.
don't think it was just the way that was meant, even by God.
Right.
So I believe that every family deserves to have or should have a dad, a mom, and work together. Now, that being said, there is a lot of single parents, single moms, and even dads out there. Kathy, what do you think that single parents working with their children and preparing them to either talk to counselors or talk to people like yourself? What do you think they can do better to prepare the children and to be receptive of talking to you or the information that you may give them, not to be shy or anything like that? What do you think the parents can do to help them, to help the children?
what do I think? I didn't get that last part. What do I think the parents should do as, what was
Yeah,
the last part? I'm sorry.
yeah. Let's say that you have a child. He's 10 years old, and whatever the reason may be, he's going to start seeing a therapist and talk to you
Okay.
like once a week.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the parent can do to better prepare that child to be more receptive to the things
Mhm.
that they're going to talk to you
Yeah.
and or the therapist?
I think communication is just the key to everything. I think that some parents feel that they have to kind of baby their conversations, and
Okay,
at 6 years old, you're not going to talk to a 6-year-old the way you would talk to a 13-year-old.
of course.
Right,
But
right.
I think a lot of parents think that, oh, she's 6 years old. No, they understand way more than we think they do.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
I think it's just preparing them and talking to them and letting them know. And what better is it than your child asking you questions instead of asking the world, seeking for
Sure,
answers
sure,
when they
sure,
can
Definitely,
sure,
find them right
definitely.
at home?
Yeah.
And that
sure.
doesn't happen often. It doesn't. So just preparing them, having that conversation and communicating. I think a lot of parents, this is just me personally. I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
parents. I am affectionate with my daughter. Don't get me wrong. I hug her and kiss her. Well, mom doesn't do that. But I
Right.
think a lot of parents don't take enough time to really sit down with their kid. It's good that you hug your kid. Of course, you have to show them that affection piece. But your kid is looking for conversation. They're asking questions about the world, and they want to know that from you, from
Hmm.
mom, from
So
dad.
you
You
think
know.
it's more effective talking more than being affectionate, or
Well, at least
I
maybe
think
not just talking more, just talking more often, not more than being affectionate, right?
okay, okay.
yeah. I think
Would you
a
say it
balance.
like okay, a balance?
I
Okay.
think it's a balance. I think if you receive your kids off the bus, of course you're gonna hug them and kiss them because you're excited. She's excited, and then not even right away because they don't want to be talking right away. But for me, an example, I'll pick her up and then I'll make sure that she gets her free time where she's just chilling and laying
Mm-hmm.
back, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll sit her down. I'll sit down and eat with her, and I say, so how was school? Tell me about school. I don't just say, how was school? Because she's going to say, good. I say, tell me what happened in school.
Oh.
Did you make any new friends? And then before you know it, at 6 years old, and she's a girl, she wants to talk all day.
Sure.
So they're, they're giving you all this information. That's how you find out, oh, there's a kid maybe bothering her, or she's not she's not,
Yeah,
she doesn't like the
of
teacher too
course.
much, or little things
Yeah.
like that.
Awesome.
Just a balance.
Kathy.
One more question for you, one more question for me, and then
Okay.
we're about done.
Well, it's not really a question, but can you tell us of a case, if any, that has touched you that you have kept throughout the years that you've been doing this social work?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to say my first. There's a lot of cases, but my first case, my very first case when I started this job, it was a 9-year-old boy who had they just were here for maybe 6 months, from Puerto Rico, fresh
Oh,
from Puerto Rico, del caserío, from the projects,
okay.
no guidance. His case was that he actually had brought a knife to school in Puerto
At
Rico,
9 years
so
old.
he was at 9 years old.
Wow,
He was expelled from the school. So now he's in the United States. He's in Hartford, new environment, only
tough
English
environment.
basically. Tough environment. And the mom needed help. She didn't have the father figure. She didn't have any of those pieces. She didn't know how to get him services or get him any social work, anybody that would check on him. So when we stepped in, our mission and our goal was to make sure that the kid did feel like he had someone to talk to. And whenever he was feeling like he was
Okay.
going to hurt someone, he had his social worker at school. And if the social worker couldn't handle it, they called us. So there was always
Wow.
someone there for this kid,
Yeah.
basically all around the clock. And we're on call 24/7. So the
Oh,
parents can call us,
wow.
whenever they need. So we were always there for this family, for the mom too, because she reached out a lot. And we started seeing all these improvements because we were able to advocate and, do our work.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
it was maybe 3 years after I went back to the school. Now the kid was already in middle school. And I bumped into him because he went back to visit his teachers, to say hi. I bumped
Wow.
into him at the front office, and he ran up to me, he hugged me, and I just started to
Wow.
cry immediately. And I asked him
Aw.
how he was doing, and now he speaks English, and now he's
Look at
doing so
that.
Great,
good.
great,
His
great.
mom has a better apartment. It was a great story. Great,
Wow.
great, great story.
Wow,
hmm
Awesome. Awesome. That's awesome.
wow. And Kathy, just to finish, can you tell us what is it that you've learned from being a single mom, working with children, and all these things? What have you learned? Anything? The first thing that comes to your mind. What have you really learned?
What have I really learned? That's a good question. I've learned so much. I think what I've learned is just to really, really believe and think positive, and your thoughts are real. So if you're constantly being negative and you think things aren't going to work out and this is not working out, yeah, we all have times where we believe, oh, I don't know how I'm going to pay this bill. My lights are going to get cut off. And somehow
that's true.
it always works. It always works itself around somehow.
Wow.
And I believe praying and believing, really believing in your heart that things are going to get better and keeping that faith and reaching out. And if you have support, use them because we have family for a reason and we have friends for a reason. So I think just using your voice and reaching out for support, and definitely always praying faithfully when you wake up, before you go to sleep, go to church, believe.
Amen. What an awesome way to finish it.
Awesome.
Wow.
Kathy, you did great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being part of this. Everybody hearing out there, there's a lot of need out there. There's a lot of people that need help.
And there's help. There is help.
That's the thing. She said the
out.
number one problem is the lack of knowledge.
Yes.
But there is help. Seek help. Just anybody that go on the internet. There's a lot of things you can look for. Just don't try to do things on your own. And I would say also look for a faith family. Look for a church. Go to a local church and just start listening. Start acquainting with other people. It's the number one thing. Again, thank you everybody for listening. Mom, you have any last thoughts?
No, Kathy, thank you so much for accepting and taking this time to bring knowledge to us and the families. Thank you so much. You have a great evening, everyone.
Hey, everybody, thank you. Have a blessed evening and stay safe.
Bye now.